here we go. All right, listen, here's the equation we're going to put in on our calculators. And I need everybody's focus. I get really frustrated when I have to repeat this 3 or 4 times because you're not paying attention. We are going to sketch this equation, x cubed minus 4x plus 2 equals 0. Now that is a cubic equation. It's not on your sheet. This is separate notes you're taking. This is a skill you have to have. So we're not learning how to do a problem necessarily. We're learning how to use our calculator. Okay, so we're going to do this on the calculator. We're not going to try to solve this by hand. We will learn how to solve stuff like that by hand in like chapter 2 or something down the road. But right now, we're going to rely on our calculator. So here's what I want you to do. Turn it on, of course. All right. Now, I want you to find on the screen or on the face of your calculator the button that says y equals. There's a button that says y equals on your calculator. You find it?
Yep.
It's right here. I'm going to put my fat finger on the calculator now. It's right here. When you press y equals, up comes some stuff. Now, did that get worse when I turned out the light? I think it did. I've got stuff in there already. So I have to take that stuff out. So what I'll do, I don't know if it makes any difference.
I think it's
What I'll do is just hit clear, and then I'll go down and hit clear again. And now I have no equations in my calculator. So if you had some in there, because somebody else used it or you were graphing before, get those out of there. Now we're going to put in our equation. This button right here, the button right here, has an X and a T and a theta on it. That is your variable button. Anytime you want to put a variable into your calculator, an X, that's the button you press. Now, I'd like you all to press that button. Did anybody get something other than an X? That means we're all in the right mode. That's good news. Now we're going to raise that to the 3rd power. This button right here raises to powers. So hit that button and then 3, and that will raise you to the 3rd power. And then minus 4x plus 2. Now, can everybody get the equation? X is your variable button. You didn't get an X. You didn't get an X, okay? That's why I said you didn't not get an X. Now you'll get an X. But you got to get rid of that 150, so you need to go down and get clear. All right, everybody got it in? Now, anytime we graph, we're getting ready to graph, we have to tell the calculator how big of a screen it wants to look at. Here's what I mean by that. When you set up your own grid, you can, you know, like this, and you can let these be 1s, so 1, 2, 3, or you could let them be 10s, right? You can make your graph as big or small as you want, depending on what scale you set up, right? So what we need to do is tell the calculator, how big do I want my screen? And that we do with the window button. The window button is right here, and that's the button where we can set it up so that we can see as wide and as tall as we want. Notice it says X min, X max. So X min, they don't have to be the same. Now, if you want your grid centered in the paper, they have to be the same. But if you don't mind if it looks like that, it's fine. Now, how wide do we want this picture? Well, I always start with what's called the standard window, and that is -10 to 10. So I'm going to put in -10, and oh, by the way, the negative button is down here. That's the subtraction button. Don't use that. You need the negative button right down here. So -10 and 10. Oops. Now, if that doesn't work for me, and I won't know till I graph it, if that doesn't work for me, I can change it. And I'm going to do the same thing with my y's. Notice my scale is set at 1. Your scale is almost always going to be set at 1. The only thing you're going to be changing is your mins and maxes. And again, all your mins do is say, I'm going to go from -10 to 10. I'm going to go from -10 to 10. If you want to go from -100 to 100, that's fine. That's how you'll set it up. All right, everybody got set up? Now we press the magic button. Just press the graph button right here. This is the graph button. Just hit graph, and you should see a picture. You should see a picture. Well, you got it right there, right? Now, what you are looking for on this picture are these points right here. When you are asked to solve an equation, you are looking for the zeros, what are called the zeros, or the x-intercepts, or the roots, or the solutions. These are all words that describe the answers to that equation. Graphically, the answers are these 3 points. There are 3 answers to this equation, and it's those 3 points. Now, we're gonna let the calculator find those points for us. Everybody with the calculator have the graph?
Yes. No.
Okay.
No.
Somebody say no?
Yeah.
Honey, I can't help you.
Okay.
You'll need to get your handbook out and see. Now, see this point right here? We're gonna find that one first. All right, so all our beady little eyes are focused on that point right there. So, to help me find that point, I press second calc. Second calc. See in blue right there, it says calc. Press that button. Now look at the list of options you have. If this is the point we're looking for, which of those options do you think I want to pick?
2.
Well, how about the one that says 0, since that's what I'm looking for is a 0. So click down to 0 and hit enter. No, don't, you didn't hit the number 0.
Yeah,
It's second calc. Oh no, you've messed up. Now what are you
That was a
doing?
sweet PK set.
I know, I couldn't see the screen. So I was just gonna go for it.
You haven't followed any instructions that I've given you.
I'm sorry. I thought I was.
Yeah.
I had like 10 minutes.
No, it wasn't like, it wasn't a shootout. It was
Now, second,
Apparently I took out the play.
click down.
What did you say? Why did you make it
Alex, do you have a video? Well, I'm about to get it. Our camera died, but I know the friend's pretty back.
All right, so now I have, did I do that? Yes. So now the calculator is asking me for my left bound. This is the point I'm looking for. You should have a cursor flashing somewhere. It may not be where mine is, but you've got one flashing somewhere. Move it using your arrow buttons. Move that cursor so it is to the left of the point you're looking for. So in other words, it's going to have to be down here. So using your arrow button, move the cursor so it's on the left side of the point you're looking for. And as soon as you get it over there, hit enter. And then what will happen is it'll put a boundary on you, on your graph. See how it popped that little boundary in right there? Now, what's the calculator asking for now? Right bound. So now you're going to use your arrow buttons and you're going to arrow that cursor so it's on the right side of that point. So it's got to be over here somewhere on the bump. It doesn't matter where, just move it. It's over there somewhere, hit enter. And then that puts up your other boundary. The boundaries have to surround the point you're looking for. You see, kids, there are 3 zeros in this problem. 1, 2, 3. If you don't tell the calculator which one to find, it gets all confused. So you're telling it, find the one between these 2 dots. That's that one. So now it says, where do you think it is? Take a guess. Well, move that cursor down till it's as close to that point as you can get it and press enter. And it will give you the answer. Negative 2.214.
Is that after clicking the trace button?
The trace button will get you close, but it won't get you exactly there. So we're not tracing, although if you trace, you will get close to negative 2.21432. We're not using the trace button, we're using the calc button.
Okay.
Now, the calc button is at the top of the trace button. So you have to press second, calc. All right, now guess what we're going to do? We're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to find this one. Okay, so here we go. We start all over again. Second, calc. Click down to 0 and press enter. Now the calculator's asking you to set a left bound. Where do you need your cursor to be?
Left of
Somewhere to the left of that point right there. So I'm going to move it so it's over here somewhere on the left side of that point. I don't want to be too far away from it. And then I'm going to move it so it's on the right side of that point. So I'm going to move it down here in this little dip. So it's on the right side of that point. And then what do? Move it right there, as close as I can to the point. And that one is 0.539. This one is 0.539. Those of you with calculators, you getting 0.539 for that one?
Yeah.
For the X?
Mm-hmm.
0.58.
That shouldn't happen. Are you pressing what I'm telling you to press?
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't invented yet. Once you take your guess, you need inventor.
Okay.
Inventor will come up with the answer.
So,
Yeah, once you move your cursor, you have to hit enter. All right, without my help, find this one. You're going to repeat the process. Okay? Starting with what? Second calc.
Calc. Doesn't matter what the boundaries are, as long as they're not near another zero.
Exactly. No, it doesn't. As long as they're not near another zero. Colorado, 1.675.
Yeah.
Kelly Berry, 1.675. Oh, I got it. All right. Now we're going to do one more example, a little bit harder equation. But I think you can do it. We want to do basically the same thing, but now our equation is going to be x plus 2 minus 2 times the square root of x plus 3 equals 0. All right, I think you can do this. So here we go. Any idea what the first thing we have to do is? We got to get rid of the old equation. And to do that, just hit y equals and then clear. It's gone. And then we're going to put in the new equation. So we'll type our x, that's our variable, x plus 2 minus 2 times the square root. Now, to get the square root, it's right here. So you have to do second square root, and then x plus 3, and close your parentheses. X plus 3, close them. The original, no equals 0, just type in the equation. As soon as you hit square root, it's going to put these parentheses in. You have to physically close it off. Everybody got the equation in?
Yep.
Now, I don't know if I'll have to adjust my window or not. I'm going to go ahead and graph it and see what it looks like. So I'm just going to hit graph. And I got a totally different picture, right? Can I see it crossing the x-axis?
Yes.
Crossing the x-axis, right there?
Yeah.
Kind of.
That's my answer. You have a question, Mr. Hermie? You just stretching. I need to find that point right there. That's the point I want to find. Remember, when you're using your calculator to solve, what are you looking for? Where it crosses the x-axis. Right? So let's find it. Who can guide us through the steps to finding that 0? Second, calc. Click down to 0, press enter. Now I'm setting the boundaries. Now I only have one point to worry about. So that's a fine boundary. And then I'll move it over here and set another boundary. Yes, ma'am.
Every time I enter in the y, it says invalid.
Oh, come on, girl. Come on.
I know I have what I know is wrong.
You're making a bed.
Let me finish this. See if you get 2.828 as your answer. Is this your calculator? You're on it.
I got it.
2.82.
What is it?
2.82.
That's a snazzy
Thank you.
Mine.
You like my calculator?
Yeah, it's his.
So salty.
Okay. 2.828.
Yeah.
All right. So when you're doing your homework in P4, I think it is, or P5, one of them, when you're doing your homework and you come into a section that says solve graphically, get your calculator out, type in the equation, make sure the window is set somewhat reasonably, and then here we go. Second calc, 0, left bound, right bound, guess, and you got it. Okay? All right. Now I want to turn back yesterday's quizzes. Didn't we take a quiz yesterday?
Yeah, we did.
So, this is...
Did you set that up?
I need a marker. It's still running, so all it needs to do is be stood up here and centered on the board. Don't bump it now. Okay.
I'm not gonna bump it.
All right. Now, here are your quizzes.
All you wanted attention. You got up and walked just so everybody would stop.
These were worth 10
You're
points.
From behind the class, look at it.
They're already in the grade book, Avery.
You didn't do the back.
Really? I'll put this in my kit right now. No?
Hey, you got a kid?
What? No boat. Two in a circle.
I put one with that.
Oh, did we have to do like the whole problem out?
You had to like show your work.
One plus
one plus one plus
Yeah,
two.
one plus
Oh
two.
god.
You're actually supposed to show your work. Like that's.
I got it.
What is it, 1 plus 1?
No, it's circle.
Did you
Marissa,
I am mad with the bone.
Cameron,
T-bone.
Philip,
What's
get to regrade that picture?
Ray, Jen,
An 11 is a little overboard.
Lou,
Hey, I'm always one step ahead of you.
Okay.
Still Irish.
Okay, now, who has a question?
I don't think you said no pens for the bonus.
Okay, you have your pink sheet in your hand.
I only have pens.
Read the pink sheet, you can't just sign it.
No, I knew that. I just
I'm a
making sure.
business guy. I only use pens.
All right, who has a question about the quiz?
No, I got it.
We need to get this stuff sorted out because we've learned a lot since then. So who's got an issue with the quiz? Cameron? Number 3. All right.
What was you need, cuz?
6.
Midpoint?
That's an easy cut.
It's okay.
My GPA.
Can only go up from here.
So really, VG out had a 7.
All right, Cameron,
Tell that to my 6. But.
how did you start?
I started by flipping the X, like the
This guy?
negative. I moved it to the bottom and
Okay,
then combined.
so she said, I'm gonna fix what's inside there. And really, the only thing well, actually, there's a couple things I could do. One thing I could do is move this 3 to the bottom. Now, some of you switched the X's. No, this one has a negative exponent, so he gets switched. But see that? That doesn't move. That's gonna stay right where it's at. So you have a 2x to the 8 y squared. Now wait a minute, Miss Ford's pulling a fast one. How did this get to be x to the 8? Well, there's 3 of them that are coming down to join the 5 that are already down there. Now how did I get y squared? Well, I have y to the 4th over y to the 2nd. So if I just cancel, won't that leave me with y squared? Yes. All right, are we good to this point? All I'm doing, I'm not even messing with that. I'm just simplifying what's in here. Now, what does that guy do? Well, I can distribute it through, but the fact that he's negative means the whole thing is going to flip over. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll do my distribute. This negative right here flips the whole fraction. What was on top goes down, goes up. So then I have x to the 16th over 4y to the 4th. Because I square everything, including the 2. All right. Megan.
Can you do number 4, please?
4. Find the midpoint. Remember, midpoint means average. So I want the average x. How do I average? I add and divide by 2. So 1 and 6 make 7 divided by 2. Now the average y. 2 and negative 8 makes negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. There is your midpoint. Midpoint is average. We add and divide by 2. Anybody else? No more questions on the quiz. Okay. All right. Where did we leave off? We gotta get going. We don't have class tomorrow, I don't think. Where did we leave off?
When's the next quiz?
We left off on number 5 on 4.
We left off at
5 on
Next
4.
time we have class.
Tell me how that makes sense.
5 on page 4, sir, please. If you would have broken that down using, I don't know, that thing in your head that's called your brain. 5 on 4. 5 on page 4.
There we go, right there, that page.
5 on 4. She understood what I said.
Probably we'll have a quiz on Tuesday.
Go on sides today for Scout.
We left off where?
Wait, don't what?
Go on Scout on sides.
Number
All right.
5 on P4.
Too bad I'm not outside, but that's
You're
fine.
not.
Okay. All right.
I'm a Black Ops guy, too.
I can honestly.
Okay, let me get you back here together. We gotta be paying attention. We have a lot to do and not much time to get it done.
Kobe.
We need to do number 5 in section P4, which is on page 4 of your note sheet, and it's writing the equation of a line.
Oh, we didn't do 4B.
We didn't do 4B. Well, let's do 4B then. We'll start with 4B. Is that okay with everybody? Some of you may have it done because some of you work ahead, which is awesome. But if we didn't do it as a group, we'll go ahead. It's good warm up anyway. Write the equation of a line through negative 3, 2. Negative 3, negative 2. And 1, 2. And it says use slope intercept. Now you've got to remember that that means y equals mx plus b. Who remembers from yesterday what our steps are in doing this problem? So first we have to find the slope. So m equals 2 minus negative 2 over 1 minus negative 3. Now you can subtract in either order. I did 2 minus negative 2 over 1 minus negative 3. You could go negative 2 minus 2 over negative 3 minus 1. It wouldn't matter. We're going to get the same answer, which is what?
1.
1. That's nice. No fractions. That's good. All right, what do we do now? Now we take our formula, y equals mx plus b. We pick a point, and I would pick this one because it definitely looks easier. No negatives. And this goes in for x, and this goes in for y. So 2 equals 1 times 1 plus b. This is the y, this is the m, this is the x. So 2 equals 1 plus b, and b equals 1. So my answer. That's not my answer. My answer is the equation y equals x plus 1. M was 1, so it's like 1x plus 1, but big kids don't write a 1 there.
That's our final answer.
That's your final answer. This right here. Do you remember that? We started that yesterday. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Step 1 is always find the slope. Always, we have to find the slope. Okay, now we're ready for number 5, which talks about find the equation of the line through -2, 3 and parallel to y equals 3x minus 5. I just told you that the first thing you needed was the slope. How in the world are we going to get the slope this time?
But you already have it.
What do you mean we already have it?
Because the parallel should be the same slope.
Exactly.
Mace.
Parallel means same slope.
Oh, it's great.
If you think, you don't talk that way.
Yeah, read the
If you think about it, here are parallel lines, right? And don't they have the same slope? I mean, doesn't that just make sense? So then, okay, they have the same slope. Then I have to be able to look at this equation and know what the slope is. Well, if you remember, in y equals mx plus b, m is the slope. Y equals mx plus b, the slope must be 3. So we're going to have a new line, a different line, whose slope is also 3, but it goes through the point -2, 3. That was given in the problem. That was part of the problem. So b equals 9. And your answer then is y equals 3x plus 9. So where did we get the slope? From the equation, right? And slope is the coefficient on x if you have gotten y by itself. Alrighty? Now I'm looking at the next one. Oh geez, it says perpendicular.
Oh, I got this boy.
It's still -2, 3, but we want to be perpendicular to 2x minus 4y equals 1. Tony, does that ring any bells for you?
No.
Nope, not a single one. Silence in the belfry, okay.
TJ, you got this. You know how to, TJ, you know how to do this. You got this. I'm trying to encourage you, TJ.
Mason, shush. Now, does anybody besides Mason remember?
Y by itself.
Okay, we need to get y by itself. All right, let's just start there. Good, Geechee, we're gonna get y by itself, so I'm gonna subtract the 2x. So I move the 2x over.
Divide by -4.
And divide by -4, everything. Okay, now let's reduce, it'll make our lives easier. What's this gonna equal? A half? Not 1.5. 1/2, right? 1/2. So 1/2 x minus 1/4. Now that is not your answer. That is the same as that, it's just written differently, right? You want a new line now that's perpendicular to that one. Now, don't tell me that he's the only one in the room that remembers anything about perpendicular slopes. Ken, they have opposite reciprocal slopes.
Let's go, boy.
Opposite reciprocal slopes. So if this one is a positive 1/2, the perpendicular will be a negative 2/1. It's the opposite and flipped. So this is positive 1/2, so it's negative 2/1, which is just negative 2. So the slope you're going to use is negative 2. The point you're going to use is the one they gave you. So y equals mx plus b, here we go. 3 equals negative 2 times negative 2 plus b. All right. I did that kind of fast, I'm a little bit distracted. I have chemo in about an hour or so. Did I do it right?
Yeah.
So my answer is y equals negative 2x minus 1. Perpendicular, opposite reciprocal slope. Oh my golly, Miss Molly. Look at the next problems. What do those directions say? Solve graphically with calculator.
Oh, thank gosh, I have my TI-30XS.
Now,
This one is my
one thing that I didn't mention to you that I need to is that in order to solve graphically with the calculator, the equation has to be set equal to 0. So when you look at problem B on the paper here, the first thing we're going to have to do is move that 15 over. You have to have the equation set equal to 0 if you're going to solve it on your calculator graphically. Okay? Now, we don't have class again until Monday. Till Monday. So on Monday, we gotta keep plowing through. We'll do a quick review, and then on Tuesday, you're gonna have a quiz.